Let's talk about the assumption of the office, Eric. Yes. As you heard in our news, President-elect and his deputy believe that the judicial process and their work can run parallel as long as they do not, overstep their mandate. What does the law stipulate with regard to the President-elect, especially when faced with an election petition such as the one that's being filed tomorrow?
That is right. There are things that the President-elect cannot do at this time, and there are things that the President-elect can do at this time according to the assumption of the Office of the President Act. For instance, the law allows the President-elect to, in consultation with the Committee on the Assumption of Office of the President, to ask for certain information from public officers. For instance, the Act allows the President-elect to get briefings from security chiefs on matters related to security of the country. The law also allows the President-elect to engage other institutions for purposes of making preparations for his assumption of office, but not for purposes of, for instance, acting as head of state. He can, for instance, meet diplomats if it is for purpose of preparation for the assumption of office. However, he cannot meet the head, or he cannot meet the diplomats as head of state. That one he cannot do. He cannot, likewise, he cannot sit and chair the National Security Council as the chairperson, but he can get briefing from the chiefs, the security chiefs in the country.
Mr. Chairman, can you tell viewers what would happen if the court petition indeed succeeded? We wouldn't go for a runoff, we would actually go for a rerun. Am I right?
Yes, we'll do fresh presidential elections. It's not a runoff. We'll go back and do elections as if we never conducted any presidential elections.
Would that involve the other, presidential candidates, all of them?
Yes, the other presidential candidates will still run, but it's not mandatory. If one wants to opt out, there's still an option to do it, but there's nothing which bars the other presidential candidates from being in the ballot box.
Eric Mutua, we thank you so much for your time on KTN Prime. See you another time.
Thank you.
President-elect Uhuru Kenyatta and his deputy William Ruto will continue preparations to assume office despite the impending court petition seeking to overturn their election. Uhuru and Ruto said that they are already under pressure to deliver on their campaign promises, and every minute counts in their quest to transform the country. And as Sam Ogina reports, the duo believe that the judicial process and their work can run parallel as long as they do not overstep their mandate.
The Jubilee Alliance was meeting women leaders as it embarked on its quest to transform the country, which it says is unstoppable even by the impending judicial process by their rival CORD coalition. President-elect Uhuru Kenyatta and his deputy William Ruto stated that they have sprung into action to begin actualizing their plan and pledges made on the campaign trail. A move they say should not be construed as denying CORD the democratic right of petitioning the election.
We had a plan as a Jubilee coalition, and we are not going to waste one single moment that God has given us actually because we are waiting for a ruler. The judicial process proceeds. The Jubilee government continues to prepare to govern this nation.
When we spoke during the campaign trail, Kenyans were listening. And already we are under pressure. Kenyans, I remember I sent an SMS that was sent to my phone to His Excellency, the President-elect. A Kenyan was saying their daughter, who is in Standard 1, is already asking when she is coming to pick the laptop computer.
CORD has been quite critical about the president-elect and his deputy enjoying trappings of power despite an impending petition seeking to annul their election. However, Uhuru says the focus now is to unite and transform the country.
Consistently, and maybe some of our friends are not understanding where we are coming from. We're not, when we reach out, saying so because we have any fear of any kind. When we are reaching out because we understand that for this country to move forward, we need to heal it, we need to reconcile it.
We are going to use every minute available to begin to work on our plan so that we can deliver and take this country to the next level.
Uhuru and Ruto have been transacting semi-official business in the transitional period, including several diplomatic courtesy calls and receiving briefs on state security. And today's meeting was their third official engagement since assuming the position of president and deputy president-elect. To the women in attendance, they pledged that the Jubilee government will strive to attain the elusive one-third gender parity rule to see increased women participation in government.
Mr. President, I do pray, and I believe you because when you assured me, and you signed, you know your left hand, Kimoto, you signed, and you assured that you are going to ensure that women of Kenya will not have to walk long distances to fetch water.
My government will seek to further increase representation of women in all decision-making through appointments to leadership positions.
The Jubilee Alliance boasted of having at least 75% of women elected into parliament drawn from the alliance. Out of the 16 elected women, 12 are from the Jubilee Alliance. The president-elect saying that they will deliver on the promises they made pertaining to women and the youth.
Under the leadership of Uhuru Kenyatta, the Jubilee coalition is willing, we are prepared to work with our brothers and sisters who we went to competition with.
Sam Ogina, KTN.
And staying with the same vexed question of assumption of office, the government has defended the move by state security organs to give President-elect Uhuru Kenyatta security briefings, saying it is anchored in law. A government spokesman, Muthui Kariuki, says Section 10 of the Assumption of Office of the President Act stipulates that the President-elect shall receive security briefings from the respective national security organs. He says the Act also allows the President-elect to request for such information in writing from a public officer. Public officers who fail to comply with the provisions of the Act commit an offence and are liable of conviction to a fine not exceeding 1 million shillings or an imprisonment for a term not exceeding 2 years or both. Several political leaders have in the recent past criticized the move to give President-elect Uhuru Kenyatta security briefings, arguing that it is illegal.